Hello and welcome to the Idol Inn, your cozy getaway from all the crazy drama in the K-pop world. I'm your host, Annie Oakley, and here's what you might have missed last week in K-pop. Our top news story today is about legendary second-gen vocal group SeeYa. They debuted in 2006 under Core Contents Media, now known as Pocket Doll, with members Kim Yeonji, Lee Boram, and Nam Gyuri to immediate acclaim. This era often featured more cinematic music videos, and their voices worked perfectly with that trend. The music videos for Shoes and Crazy Love Song are essentially a short-form drama, but I digress. While Boram and Yeonji were praised for their talent, Gyuri's strong visuals made her a target for criticism. CCM saw this as an opportunity though, and continued to push Gyuri as the center. There was even a few instances of the other members being dressed like the backup dancers, so coupled with the fact that the group was made to sing in the same tone, making it hard to discern who was who in the recordings, CCM's hyper-focus on Gyuri was undeniable. This, plus rumored abhorrent living conditions, made Gyuri drop out of SeeYa in 2009. CCM didn't accept that though, and instead announced to the public that she had stopped showing up to the group's schedules. At the time, she wanted to focus on acting and was actively in negotiations for that. So this is something that would have been discussed in that meeting. It's speculated that move was intended to pressure her into staying with the group. Yeonji and Boram were also pressured into making disparaging comments about the situation, throwing Gyuri under the bus. Despite this, she did sign with CCM for acting until 2014. Following her exit, CCM added Lee Soo-mi to the lineup, but removed her after a year to be the leader of group co-ed school. Boram and Yeonji continued on as a duo, though occasionally working with label mates Tiara and Davichi. When it came time for their contract negotiations in 2011, Yeonji intended to leave, but in a purely brazen act, the CEO Kim Kwang-soo publicly begged her to resign. This put off other companies from approaching her, as it just made Yeonji look as if she was being disloyal and ungrateful based on the way the article was phrased. Again, the media play failed though, and SeeYa officially disbanded on January 30th, 2011. In the interim, it has been made clear that the members harbor no ill feelings for each other, along with all of them naming the company's manipulations as the reason why they had such a short run together. And CCM has a truly awful track history, starting from their first group, SG Wannabe, and persisting even now. That is part of why they changed their name. Among other things, they hold the distinction of being the only company to have 2 instances of indecent exposure during a live broadcast, both of which were suspected of being intentional due to the timing and just how strict Korean broadcasting is in that regard. There are so many other things that I couldn't cover here for the sake of brevity, but just look into the history of Core Contents Media and you'll come away with a new hatred for K-pop companies, I'm sure. All of this is to say, 1, companies by and large have both the freedom and power to do whatever they want. If they want to squash a talent's future, they can do that. If they want to make someone the next it boy/girl, they can do that too. SeeYa's bond was able to persist despite meddling from their company, which is why they're able to have a reunion so many years later. Mamamoo's Moonbyul returned with Hurts, and since most of her fanbase is female, the music show fan gifts included a safety whistle/flashlight combo. We love a sensible queen. SF9 released About Love for their fans, and I must say, it is a shame that FNC seems to not put too much effort behind them, because the vocals are there, and they should absolutely be sharing the spotlight with their fellow Kingdom participants. Extraordinary Heroes dropped their pre-release X Room. The music video is very interesting. I think there's a growing trend for this nostalgic 90s movie vibe for music videos, but I like it. Stray Kids released Stay to commemorate their 8th debut anniversary. They also held a fan con in South Korea to celebrate with fans. 2AM's Jo Kwon returned with Like I Do, and it's a shame that it took him this long to release a song like this. He's a great vocalist, but I think he excels at this romantic longing vibe. Red Velvet's Irene dropped Biggest Fan, and the vibes are immaculate. This is such a different vibe from her debut EP, and I'm not complaining one bit. It's cocky, confident, I love it. One Peel from Day 6 dropped Unfiltered as well. Lyrically and musically, I am obsessed. Even my toddler was jamming out to the title track Highs and Lows. Kepler came back with Killa, and this is the first song of theirs since Up that I personally want to hear more than once. The topic of our top story this week, vocal group SeeYa is back for their 20th anniversary. Their pre-release, Nevertheless We, is out, and if you give it a listen, I'm sure you'll understand why they were so popular. Just unmatched vocals. And technically not a new release itself. 17 dropped Tiny Light a couple weeks ago, which was apparently meant to be on the OST for the newest season of the anime Beastars. As a result of the collab, we get to see anthropomorphic animal versions of 17 members as they appear in the music video that dropped on the 29th. Go check it out. Starting us off this month, we have From Us9 dropping a Japanese version of their latest hit, Like You Better, today. Kino of Pentagon will be returning with his third EP, Lost and Found, today as well. Card SOMIN is next up for a solo debut. Unveil will be out tomorrow, and based on the teasers, it's gonna hit so good. Monsta X is releasing a full English album titled Unfold. We've already gotten some spoilers for this, and it sounds thematically pretty similar to their previous release, Baby Blue. T.O.P is dropping his first full solo album on the 3rd, which is a genuine surprise considering he promised not to come back as an artist in South Korea due to the response to his marijuana scandal back in 2017. Kickflip will be back on the 6th with My First Kick. Just a reminder that member Amaru is still out of promotions while he focuses on recovering from anxiety-related health issues. Talented siblings Akmu will be making their first comeback since leaving YG. The teaser features a stop-motion penguin couple and their usual sound. The Nation's virtual group, otherwise known as PLAVE, is having their comeback on the 13th as well. TXT is back with their 8th mini-album, 7th Year, A Moment of Stillness in the Thorns, and boy is that a mouthful. Extraordinary Heroes is dropping their 8th mini-album, Dead And. The pre-release for this is what we just talked about in the new release section. Former Luna member Eves is back with her 4th EP, Nails, on the 17th. NCT Wish is back with their first full album, Ode to Love, on the 20th. This will be their first comeback without input from former director Boa after she left SM. Cordis is dropping a pre-release before their May comeback for their second single titled Green Green. And at the end of the month, Islet will return with It's Me. Independent K-pop artist The Deep took part in the production, which I feel like if you know about The Deep, this seems kind of crazy. I'm very interested in finding out how this happened. Ghost 9's Lee Jin-woo is starring as Song Ji-chun in the drama Cabbage Your Life. He plays the son of the main character who is forced to relocate to a rural area and adjust to a totally different way of life. IU is starring opposite Byung-woo-seok in Perfect Crown. This is an arranged marriage rom-com and it's available on Disney+. Mad Concrete Dreams, starring former FX member Crystal, is currently airing as well. She plays a wife whose life is upended after her husband and his friend devise a kidnapping scheme that goes awry. Fear Nots can see Le Seraphim in VR for the newest of Amaze VR's concert series. Tickets went live on Monday, and there are still some available, but a lot of them have already been snatched up. MOAs can also join in on the VR hype train, as TXT is releasing another concert for the platform. You do get some fun inclusions for these events, so they're definitely worth checking out if you have the time. I attended the ATEEZ Light the Way VR movie, and I can tell you, it's worth it. A review for that will be on the channel later this month as well. While DKB and Treasure wrapped up their concerts successfully, we have several artists still touring now. Just Be started their Snow Angel tour on the 27th. General admission is super affordable, starting at just $50. Tickets for Big Ocean's The Greatest Battle Tour are also live. They're available through Opang, and you can find the link through the bio on their Instagram. That's Opang's Instagram, OPPANG. and Mix is making their way to the States, and seriously, their performance is something that has to be experienced live. Tickets are still available on Ticketmaster. And Jackson Wang has started his Magic Man 2 tour, and this man knows how to put on a show. He'll be traveling all across North America, so you head to Ticketmaster or wherever tickets are sold for you to see what show is closest to you. Classy is holding the last of their 2 concerts on the 4th and 5th in Japan. Apparently, the goal of this group, at least when they were created, was to chart high on the Billboard charts, which I think is ironic considering their entire concept and presentation, but what do I know? Omega X will also be in Japan for their New Vision tour. The next dates for that are the 10th and the 12th of this month. Twice is, again, still on tour, but members Dahyun and Chaeyoung are currently out due to injury and health issues. If you want to hear my thoughts on that show, check out my review on the channel. The link is in the description. ATEEZ is also still on tour. They'll be in Japan next, and there haven't been any EU dates announced, but there's still time for that, so EU 18E, don't lose hope. CSR had a comeback last week with I Can't Wait Anymore, and their fans have done everything in their power to distance the comeback from the AI slop movie that 827 Entertainment tied it to. Though they likely are only doing this to get more money to make more AI slop, hopefully it reminds them that CSR does have fans who actually want to see them. Kangmin of Very Very had his solo debut with Free Fallin', and I just want to commend what feels like a truly original angle being shown here, both musically and the music video itself. Good stuff. A Future debuted, and Dreamland sounds like a girlfriend song made in 2026, and no, I don't mean that in a particularly good way. It's not necessarily bad, it's just also not great. And Rawburn released their self-titled pre-debut track, and I gotta say, this is more of what I was expecting from Stritz and A Future, not concept-wise because they're doing Girl Crush, and that's also been done to death, but in overall performance, they're clearly bringing their performance expertise here. Boyfriend member Donghyun will be releasing his first single, Happy Death Day, on the 3rd. The newest group to come out of former TVXQ member Jaejung's company, Keep It Up, is debuting on the 8th, and I would personally like to talk to him about who the F is deciding names for these groups. Did we do a focus group for this? Because you need some different input if so. Band HRTZ.WAV is making their debut on the 8th as well. This is made up of the finalists from the competition show Steel Heart Club. FNC's latest boy group, AMPERS&ONE, is dropping their 4th mini album, Definition. Fun fact about this group, every time I saw their name on Twitter, I assumed that Twitter was breaking because of the way that it's stylized. Again, we could have chosen a different name and that would have probably gone a long way for them. Reseen is dropping their first digital single titled Runaway on the 8th. Former Pixie members Dia, Lola, and Yuche are re-debuting as trio Alwoo on the 9th. Check out our top story from episode 6 if you want to know more about the group. Love One will be back with their 3rd single, Unica, on the 9th. This is reportedly going to be a different concept than what they've shown before. Modesty is debuting on the 13th. This group was formed from the spin-off of Boys 2 Planet C Home Race. I didn't even know that that was a thing. Ocean, a group that has been active since 2001, is having a comeback after a 4-year hiatus. This group has had a lot of lineup changes, and despite their tenure, there's not too much information about them available stateside. If I will return with Hazy (Daisy) on the 15th. Their last song, Are You Okay, went triple platinum in my house, so I'm personally quite excited to see what they've got cooking. Team is releasing their 3rd EP, We On Fire, on the 21st. This will be a fully Japanese release. Girl group VVS is back with something on the 22nd, presumably a song. There are just so many thoughts I have about this group, but I would like to be proven wrong. Former 101 member Park Ji-hoon is releasing his first single album, Reflect. And lastly, Close Your Eyes is set to have a comeback this month as well, though no date has been given yet at the time of recording. And that's it for this week in K-pop. Let me know in the comments whose comeback you're most excited about, or if you have plans to see any of the touring acts. And as always, like, subscribe, and ding that notification bell so you don't miss anything. Follow our socials so you can be notified when our Patreon goes live with exclusive talkbacks and subscriber voted videos. See you next week. Peace.